welcome to this explainer. Today we're diving into a microscopic, totally biodegradable material that might just be the silver bullet for some of our most daunting environmental crises. We're looking at a fascinating review of green membranes powered by something you've probably never even heard of, but trust me, it's literally all around you. It's time to meet nature's microhero. But okay, before we get to the hero, let's establish the incredibly massive stakes here. 4 billion. That is the staggering number of people on our planet who experience severe water scarcity for at least 1 month every single year. And on top of that, 1.8 billion people face an absolute continuous water shortage. Right now, our traditional chemical water treatments are often super expensive, and ironically enough, they sometimes create their own brand new environmental issues.
And compounding that resource crisis down here on the ground, well, we just have to look up at the sky. A massive 76% of all total greenhouse gas emissions currently choking our atmosphere are made up of carbon dioxide. We desperately need materials that can filter our water and capture carbon from the air, all without adding more synthetic junk to the environment.
Section 1. Enter nanocellulose, the hero material. So what is this stuff? Well, this highly sustainable green nanomaterial is actually extracted from the cell walls of ordinary plant fibers, biomass, algae, and even certain types of bacteria. Now, obviously, we've used traditional cellulose, like paper and pulp, for centuries. But when we isolate it and tweak it down at the nanoscale, between 1 and 100 nanometers, we unlock these unbelievable, superpower-like structural properties. Compared to normal cellulose, nanocellulose has a drastically higher surface area, a higher aspect ratio, and a higher Young's modulus. And if you're wondering what that actually means in plain English, it just means it's incredibly strong, highly flexible, chemically inert, and completely biocompatible. It is essentially nature's ultimate high-performance additive.
Section 2. The 3 forms of nanocellulose. To really grasp how versatile this material is across different industries, we kind of need to look at its 3 main variants side by side. So notice how cellulose nanocrystals, or CNC, and bacterial nanocellulose, BNC, offer this amazingly high crystallinity. We're talking up to 90% for CNCs. This makes them absolutely perfect for surfaces that need some serious structural reinforcement. But then, on the flip side, you have cellulose fibers, or CNFs. These are microfibers made by breaking down complex structures, and they give you immense flexibility with all sorts of different diameters. Basically, whatever a scientist needs, whether it's rigid strength or flexible permeability, there is a specific form of nanocellulose ready to get to work.
Section 3. Trial 1. Revolutionizing water treatment.
Okay, let's put our hero to its first major real-world test, purifying heavily contaminated wastewater and desalinating seawater. Remember that massive 4 billion person water scarcity issue we talked about earlier? Well, because of its huge surface area and non-toxic nature, nanocellulose is ridiculously effective in membrane-based desalination and filtration. By using these negatively charged carboxylated cellulose fibers, the resulting membrane acts a lot like a microscopic sponge. It safely and efficiently absorbs highly toxic heavy metal cations, things like lead, cadmium, and copper, straight out of industrial wastewater. Plus, it's used in reverse osmosis and nanofiltration, allowing pure water to flow right through while completely rejecting organic dyes and salts. It's a total game changer.
But here's what's really fascinating. The surrounding environment totally dictates how well this material works. The membrane's ability to pull out those heavy metals, especially cadmium, isn't just a constant. It actually peaks right at a perfectly neutral pH of 7. If the water gets too acidic, the carboxylic acid groups go neutral, and that weakens the electrostatic pull on the metals. On the flip side, if the water is too basic, the nanofibers literally begin to denature, and again, the absorption capacity drops. It's this beautiful, delicate, microscopic balancing act.
And get this, it doesn't just filter, it actually fights back. When a bacterial nanocellulose membrane is exposed to water that's heavily contaminated with live E. coli, it acts like a solar-powered, self-cleaning oven under regular sunlight. The membrane heats up to about 78 degrees Celsius and completely destroys the E. coli, wiping out the live cells. And the absolute best part? A simple rinse with distilled water washes all the dead bacteria right away. You get a perfectly clean membrane without needing any harsh, invasive chemicals whatsoever.
Section 4. Trial 2. Capturing carbon emissions.
So, moving from the water up into the sky, let's explore how this exact same organic material can be deployed to tackle our soaring greenhouse gas emissions. Now, to pull carbon out of the air without disrupting existing factory processes, the industry relies on post-combustion capture using gas separation membranes.
You can think of a modified nanocellulose membrane as basically a microscopic bouncer standing at a factory smokestack. Because it's packed with hydroxyl groups, nanocellulose can be chemically modified to selectively grab hold of carbon dioxide molecules and trap them, while just waving safer gases, like nitrogen, right on through.
The actual performance data here tells a really fascinating story. If you look at hybrid membranes blended with cellulose nanocrystals in completely dry conditions versus fully humid conditions, the difference is wild. By adding just a tiny 5% of cellulose nanocrystals to the membrane in a humid state, the CO2 permeability surges by a massive 42%. The moisture literally helps the modified membrane do its job better, bumping up its selectivity for CO2 by 18% compared to a membrane with 0 nanocrystals.
Now you're probably wondering, hey, if 5% is that good, why not add 20 or 40%, right? Well, that brings us to a crucial point. The 5% threshold. If you push the formulation past that 5% mark, you actually see a huge drop-off in performance. The nanocrystals start packing way too tightly together, and they create these highly oriented, super complicated structures. So instead of catching the gas, this dense packing actually blocks the gas from diffusing through the membrane at all. It's the perfect example of how a nanotechnology more definitely does not always mean better. Precision is absolutely everything.
Section 5. The future of medicine.
Finally, beyond just cleaning our planet's water and air, bacterial nanocellulose is proving to be a highly effective tool in a totally different environment, right inside the human body. Because it holds water incredibly well, which scientists call high water holding capacity, and because it's uniquely biocompatible with human tissue, BNC is perfectly suited for some cutting-edge biomedical applications. It provides this amazingly dynamic base material for advanced antimicrobial wound dressings, targeted drug delivery systems, and even cellular and tissue engineering, literally acting as an ideal scaffold for cells to adhere to and grow on. I really hope this explainer has shown you that sometimes the absolute most powerful solutions to our largest global crises are hiding right in front of us, at a microscopic scale. We so often take for granted the complex structures that nature has spent billions of years perfecting. But as we wrap up, I want you to really think about this. If a microscopic, completely biodegradable plant fiber can filter our water, clean our air, and literally heal our wounds, what other synthetic, harmful materials in your everyday life could nature replace tomorrow? Thanks for joining me on this deep dive into the nanocellulose revolution, and keep looking closely at the world around you.